So you've said that leadership needs to be redefined for the future. What did you mean by that?
Well, quite simply, when we look at our, world, it doesn't matter what sector you're in, whether it's a public sector or private sector. Organizations and leaders are under tremendous pressure, right? The pressure to execute strategy, the pressure to manage the complexity day to day, the pressure of having, multiple generations in the workplace and trying to figure out how do you motivate them, how do you attract them, how do you keep them for the long term, and ultimately the pressure to create value. It really weighs on leaders. And we know that the old models that leadership that have relied primarily on the one leader at the top who was the hero that had all the answers is in a world that's more complex and more ambiguous is increasingly not going to work. And so the redefinition is thinking about leadership in new ways. And so the leadership contract talks about what that means and how we can go about redefining leadership for the future. Not only in a broad sense, that is at an organizational level, I think that redefinition has to occur at an individual level with each and every single leader.
Could I come back to the notion of the contract? Because in the public service world, as you well know, very often maybe a good scientist, a good expert in an area, IT, is rewarded by being promoted and made into a leader. How does a contract work for that individual?
Well, the fundamental issue of the leadership contract, really says a couple of things. Number one is that when you decide to be a leader, that it comes with obligation, it comes with responsibility, it comes with a heightened sense of expectations. And so you have to be very clear and deliberate about that decision that you're making. The other important point is because of the dynamic changes that leaders face day to day in their roles, what we're hearing from our clients is that there are broader expectations of leaders today, that while being a strong technical or functional leader may have driven your success to a certain point in your career, all of us are now being expected to take on this mantle of leadership. So it's not that you discount the technical or functional area, is that you have to build on that to be what I call more holistic. It's broader in your perspective. So it's your ability to align and engage employees to where your organization is going. It's your ability to show up not just from your technical area or functional area or department, but more having an enterprise-wide perspective of your organization. It's your ability to help your employees manage the ambiguity that they face day to day. Right? It's the ability to build relationships with a diverse set of stakeholders, and that is becoming more and more prominent. Gone are the days where any organization can just go off and do what they want to please without really considering a number of stakeholders. And finally, there's an expectation that you as an individual leader have to model the values of the organization. We're increasingly not having a lot of patience or tolerance for prima donnas or egomaniacs. It really is the importance of integrity, humility, leaders who we can count on to do what's right in tough times.
I need to pick up on your ambiguity remark, because I would argue that is a huge challenge in government as we are going through incredible change, but the outcome isn't clear for so many leaders, and I think this is causing huge stress on leadership in government. How do they respond to this?
It's a legitimate stress that they feel, and while it's certainly prominent for public sector leaders, because that is part of the territory, right? You work hard and the outcome is not clear, or what you think the outcome was to be changes, right? And that is sort of the reality. So I think the great public sector leaders that I've had the privilege of working with really just accept that as part of their own leadership contract. They understand that that's what it is. They don't let that distract them, and they focus day to day themselves and their teams on what's the work that we have to do today to move us forward.